Welcome back to my channel. This is Mac, and today we're working on our golf cart. I've actually started doing some stuff on it already. Let's catch you up to speed. I'm still learning all this stuff too when it comes to batteries and stuff. Hence what we're working on today. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna kind of catch up to speed. So I took out my lead acid batteries. These things right here. It's a 48 volt system. All dirty, nasty. Anyway. I want to get lithium ion battery type things here. So we have 16 of these cells in here. They are running in series. That's what these things are for. I got a BMS all wired up to all the powers. I have the wires kind of routing that down area down there. And this is the BMS I'm using. What are all the specs on it? No idea. But my buddy told me this is the one I want to use for this setup. And I have like a little LCD screen that goes with it too. Which, when it's all hooked up, I'll show you what it looks like. So, there's things we have to do to this before I can do that. So, rewind a little bit. I made this little bracket here. It's a angle iron. I just welded into a square. Bolted to the frame, and then I also have this DC converter down here to get a 12 volt from 48. For charging, I got a new charging port that I'm going to take this out for. I got a lot of wiring to do, so I'm going to kind of take you a little bit through the process and kind of let you understand what's going on. But so what I'm going to be doing next, after I got the BMS all wired correctly, it's going to look at each one of the cells. That's why it's connected to each one of the positives. So, as I understand it, this will hook up to the grounds, okay? And this will hook up directly to the battery, okay? And this is going to hook up to any of the load that comes off of the battery grounds. So, like this will go to my motor in the cart, this will go to the charger, so on and so forth. So, that's what I have going on right now. So I have that wiring to do. I also have the wiring harness to do for my DC converter, which I have that little loom around here somewhere. But yeah, I'm gonna kind of give you guys updates through this as I learn how this all works. But the idea of the BMS hooked up the way it is you want all the power, you want this thing to govern what comes in and comes out of your battery and to protect your batteries. So that's kind of what I'm going to do right now, is just kind of make sure that I get all those connections set up. I bought a bunch of stuff online. I'll share these all links inside the channel. I got these little butt connectors. Got some terminal stuff. I got one of these little charging cables. I got this new connector. Got some of these. Got a lot of stuff going on here. And I also have my charger that's going to charge this thing after it's all set up, but it's hooked up to one of these, so I have to splice this cord and hook that end on it over there. It's a lot going on. I'm all over the place, guys, but it's kind of how I work. Got a huge project going on, and I just like to kind of dive in. I'll kind of come back and kind of show you what I'm doing or where I'm at. But next steps are I'm gonna do some cleanup. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm having trouble finding stuff, so I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and I'll be right back. All right, cleaned up. First things first. I have a power DC converter. It's gonna go from 48 volts to 12 volts. That'll power all my other stuff like USB charger or lights. So I am gonna go ahead and hook that up. So it's actually installed here. There's a plug. That plug goes to this right here. Basically what happens is power goes to power, ground goes to ground, goes to key switch, all that stuff. There's a little explanation guide that comes with it. Anyway, the power or the cords are not long enough, so I have a series of wires that are here that I'm going to use to match the the width of these, the gauge, match the gauge of those, and I'm gonna connect them here, and then I'm gonna hook them up there. So I'll come back as soon as I extend all these wires, and I'll show you what I do over there. All right, so this is what I have. I'm gonna go and plug it in, start running the wires, and then cut them to length. I'm thinking I'll provision this. This will be where I put all my stuff at. I think I'll provision a spot right here for it, and just connect the power and ground here, so I don't have to make long runs with the power. Okay, quick update where we're at. So we have installed the fuse box that's going to feed all my 12-volt power to my devices. DC converter still where it's at. The ground distribution blocks right there. I have hooked both these wires on each side up to allow more current to go through it, and I've set up device on the BMS. But I've just been doing a lot of creating wires right now. It's really boring, guys. I'm just gonna do a review of everything that's plugged in and how it's plugged in after the fact. And I'm also gonna be heat shrinking all of these connectors. You can see these are the heat shrink connectors right here. These things right here. So I'm gonna take all those off, and I'm gonna heat shrink those, kind of like what I've already done over here, just to keep all the water out. I did trial run yesterday. The thing did not start, but I've always had issues with this thing trying to start when I take power out of it and stuff. I have to like plug in the charger, and then it kind of like initializes it. It's kind of weird. This whole golf cart is finicky. So I'm not blaming my install, but it could be my install. Yeah. So it's kind of where I'm at. Just big messes everywhere. That's what I do. Like these are just little trays of wire. That's why I have that thing there, so I can get the wire to fall off and not land on the battery. Try to do everything on this side. And my little workstation over here even looks worse. On the charger for this thing, I'm going to remove the existing charger, put a new one in. I guess I really didn't have to do this because it's the same outlet, but here I guess. So what it looks like we got to do here is this is for the fuse, and the gray wire will come from the ignition source right here, and I'll have to cut this gray wire right here and then unhook this thing, take this ground off here, move that to this one, and then we're good. And I'll just install this one right in the same spot, and then I'll come back when I need to do the plug. I'll show you where I'm at. But charger all hooked up. The power is ran to the power. The ground is ran here on the ground block. So the charger's all hooked up. The fuse is in there. Next thing is to do is to start running the wires to the key ignition switch, and also find a spot for the little mini LCD display for the BMS. Tells me my battery and all that stuff. So I got these wires for charger. So I'm going to install one of these on that side over there, but it's aluminum plate. So I figure I'll just put it on this side, easier. So, alright, working on that now. Application wise, I just used a Christmas tree bit to cut a hole in there, and I'm gonna do this little number right here. I'm gonna put the wires in and screw it in. Should be pretty quick, easy. I'm gonna put the wires in the back there. There's plenty of room. Nothing should interfere with it. I got the wires already. And then you have this little thing in the back. You screw this on, you'll keep it on there. Didn't move around. Alright. USB. This is my switch to turn on my DC converter. I'm gonna put that in. That should go right here. And I'm gonna turn the key on and it should give it power. Should. It's a big should. I don't know. I still have some tidy up to do on the wiring, but let's see what happens. Now that this is all hooked up, you may see that. I'll take care of that here in a minute. This is test phase. This is all set up. So initially, this thing should charge and do all that stuff. We need to turn this bad boy on. I'm gonna turn the BMS on by holding this on. Okay, I heard it go. Okay, got 55 volts. See, I have nothing turned on yet. Now, if I go into my phone, 16 cells, good. I have my discharge off and my charge off. So when I turn this stuff on, so I'm gonna be that password thing. So I'm gonna turn both these on. So that should be good there. Let's turn the key on. Okay. Got no power anywhere. And my cart's kind of dumb sometimes, but it usually does good stuff whenever I start charging it. This is to start charging it now, which we are seeing a charge. Good. So we'll let this do its thing and keep an eye on it, and then try to figure out why my deal is not turning. I'm assuming it's because I don't have power right here. So let's check that voltage. All right, I have some more troubleshooting to do. It's like 1,000 degrees out, so I'll be back. So I figured out the golf cart situation. So my solenoid is bad, so I troubleshoot everything. I was like checking voltage on my throttle, making sure everything was getting power. A couple things I did learn. These golf carts don't like anything above like 51.2 volts, something like that. Maybe it has something to do with the solenoid. Maybe this is a Nativus system, and the Nativus, this thing, Nativus, the blah blah blah. Anyway, so me tried a bunch of different things. I finally figured it out. It was my solenoid this whole time, and I had to drop a cell, so I'm down to 15 cells at 3.26. All right, so this is all working like it should. Now it's time to get this all buttoned back together. Anyway, hilarious. Keys on, works now. I put this thing here, displays all my stuffs. You can see it right there. Anyway, so that's all hooked up. We have all this stuff hooked up. We have this back on. I'm gonna put the seat back on, that rear seat. And now I'm gonna put the bracket across here. My goal is to use this rubber. So the rubber is gonna be on the batteries, and then the iron piece will be on top of that. So we'll have some safety there. But yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna cut that down, and you don't need to see all that boring stuff. You'll see the aftermath. All right, later. All right, while I'm waiting for that other piece to dry, we're gonna put this rubber down to isolate from the metal and the battery, and also give myself some breathing room on the wires so they're not being squished. This is like a weather stripping for like a door. You guys kind of get the point here. Just trying to make sure we're not squishing the wires, and we have protectant on the battery. So I'm gonna let that dry from paint, and then we'll be installing it. Probably had a great idea. Put a washer on this side so it locks in here so it doesn't fall through. And then we should be able to install it here soon. I think it's time. It's time to get the heck out of here. Test drive this bad boy. All right, so you have an idea. These wires are loose here, okay? They will not be shaping. See, they're good here. And this thing is tight. So the batteries won't come up, slide out left or right. I guess the only thing we have to do now is move that awesome truck over there and take it for a quick drive. All right.